Hello everyone. Today I will be talking about tips and strategies for reading and multiple choice questions. In today's video, I'm going to talk about two parts. The first part will be about types of questions in reading comprehension, and in the second part I will be talking about multiple choice strategy. There are a handful of reading comprehension question types that constitute the bulk of questions you will face in this session. The ability to recognize the question types quickly and understand the aim of the question is extremely important. There are about 6 common question types. They are the main idea, detailed question, inference, pronoun reference, true or false question, and vocabulary. And in the second part, I will be talking to you about the multiple choice strategy, where I will be introducing you the 7 recommended strategies. And moving to the first part, types of questions in reading comprehension. Firstly, I will be talking about main idea. What is a main idea? The main idea is the central point of thought the author wants to communicate to readers. The main idea answers the question, what does the author want me to know about a topic? Or what is the author teaching me? Often the author states the main idea in a single sentence. In paragraphs, a stated main idea is called the topic sentence. When the author does not state the main idea directly, it is called an implied main idea. An implied main idea requires you to look at the specific statements in the paragraph and consider what idea they suggest. With stated main idea, you can prove your answer by going directly to the passage to check it. Your answer is clearly stated in the passage and should be easy to find. Questions on stated main idea are based on what is reading exactly or stated in the passage itself. For these questions, you go directly to the reading and look for the information. For example, there are many different ways to make a friend. One way to make a friend is to be a friend. If someone needs you, be there. Second, remember that everyone is a different person. Respect the way other people are and get to know them. They will respect you and want to get to know you too. Another thing you can do is always to be kind to everyone. You'll be surprised how many great friends are waiting for you. The first sentence is the topic sentence. The other sentences tell the details to support the main idea, ways to make a friend. You can test your answer because the topic sentence states this idea. Also, all of the other sentences, the details, are talking about the same main idea. The implied main idea is not stated, it is only suggested. There is not a topic sentence, so you need to be a good detective. Pay attention to the details and put them together with your own knowledge to determine the main idea. This is called drawing an inference. You draw an inference to find the implied main idea. For example, Miguel got an F on his history test. He only completed 30% of the classwork and 0% of his homework. When the teacher called Miguel's father, Miguel was grounded for a month. He had to bring his book home every night and sit at the kitchen table to study. These are the details that you can conclude from the passage. Miguel got an F on his history test. He only completed 30% of the classwork and 0% of his homework. The teacher called home. He was rather for a month. He brought his books home every night to study. So what can we conclude from these details? F on a test means you fail. You have to do homework to pass a class. Finish your classwork to pass a class. You're in trouble when the teacher calls home. If you fail, you get graded. A failing grade means study hard at home to bring up your grade. If you think while you are reading actively, then you know that all of these details plus what you know about school add up to one thing, the main idea. Miguel failed history class. The passage never stated directly the main idea, but you can figure it out or infer from the details plus what you yourself know. I will be talking about the second type of detailed question. Detailed questions ask the reader to recall specific information, such as anecdotes, cited evidence, data, or descriptions used to support the main idea of the passage. The answers to these questions can be found in each passage. So, what do you think the test maker would do to make these questions challenging? Paraphrase the detail so that it does not have the exact wording of the detail in the passage. Use the exact wording of unrelated details in the passage. Use pairs of words for an answer choice in which only one out of two terms are correct, and change the order of keywords in detail. You may be used to read every word slowly and carefully to understand every sentence of the test, but on most tests, such as the IELTS test or the national examination, you are limited in time and it is impossible to read attentively on the information. But how to read more in less time? One way is to use speed reading. Quickly read a text according to your purpose, getting only the information you need. Speed reading consists of skimming and scanning. So, what is skimming? Skimming means glancing rapidly through a text to determine its gist. Skimming is defined as a quick, superficial reading of a text in order to get the gist of it. Although there is some question about exactly what readers do when they skim, readers appear to be a strategy for getting clues to the main ideas, divisions, points, or steps in an argument. When skimming, we go through the reading material quickly in order to get the gist of it, to know how it is organized, or to get an idea of the tone or the intention of the writer. Scanning means glancing rapidly through a text to search for a specific piece of information. Scanning is useful in pre-reading stage to build knowledge. Another possible pre-reading use of scanning is to check predictions about the content of the text. Scanning is also a useful strategy after having read a text as well. When scanning, we only try to locate the specific information, and often we do not even follow we do not even follow the linearity of the passage to do so. We simply let our eyes wander over the text until we find what we are looking for. whether it is a name, a date, or a less specific piece of information. These are the recommended skimming strategies. Strategy A. Read the test, read the comprehension questions, go back and skim for answers. This is the most detailed way. Strategy B. Read the questions, read the test carefully to find the answers, then go back and check the answers against questions. Strategy C. Skim the test, read the questions, then scan for the answers. Strategy D. Read the questions and skim for the answers. This is the fastest way of skimming. The following are skimming tips. 1. Read the title. If it is an article, check the author, publication date, and source. 2. Read the introduction. If it is very long, read only the first paragraph completely. Then read the only first sentence of each paragraph. That sentence will usually be the main idea of that paragraph. 3. Read any subheadings or headings. The headings, when taken together, form an outline of the main topics covered in the material. 4. Notice any pictures, charts, or graphs. They are usually included to emphasize important dates or concepts. 5. If you do not get enough information from the headings, or if you are working with material that does not have headings, read the first sentence of each paragraph. 6. Glance at the reminder. Notice italicized or bold-faced words or phrases. These are key terms. Look for a list of ideas within the text of the material. The author may use numerals such as 1, 2, 3 in the list, or signal words such as first, second, one mature cause, another cause, etc. Scanning involves 3 steps. Determine what keywords to look for. Look quickly through a text for those words. Then read the sentences around them to see if they provide the information being sought. These are the scanning tips. 1. Say in your mind specifically the information for which you are looking. Phrase it in question form if possible. 2. Try to anticipate how the answer will appear. 3. Use headings and any other aids that will help you to identify which sections might contain the information for which you are looking. 4. Selectively read and skip through likely sections of the passage, keeping in mind the specific questions you form and your expectations of how the answers might appear. Move your eyes down the page in a systematic way. 5. When you have found the needed information, carefully read the sentences in which it appears in order to confirm that you have located the right information. I'm going to the next type of questions, inference. An inference question requires you to make logical assumptions and connections by using the information in a passage to come up with a new conclusion. In other words, an inference question asks you to pick up and use. In other words, an inference question asks you to pick up on information that is indirectly given rather than being directly stated in the passage. Questions of this type will often contain words like imply, suggest, or infer in a question prompt. Strategy to approach inference questions. 1. Tackle the passage. Read the passage truly. Skip the details. Focus on the main ideas. Understand the connections among the paragraphs, especially with the main idea. Finally, determine the purpose of writing and the author's opinion. 2. Rephrasing. Rephrase question in your own words forces you to grasp what it asks. Note the line location, concepts, and words like except, but, and not, as they are crucial to the answer. 3. Choices. Read the choices to see which one the passage supports. Usually, the correct answer is based on the information in 2 or 3 sentences. 4. Elimination. Eliminate the obviously wrong choices as it makes easier to find the right answer. It is best not to anticipate an answer in these cases. Simply evaluate the answer choices given. Avoid the following things while making inference. First is explicit answers. Remember, an inference is not directly given in the passage. It's important to understand the question type to avoid wrong answers. In inference questions, any answer choice which repeats or rephrases something from the passage is wrong. Instead, the inference should be based on one of the lines from the given facts or the reading comprehension. For example, if the fact is I am happy, then the inference cannot be I am not sad. In other words, it is a restatement of the original statement. When answering inference-based questions, if you find yourself stuck between 2 choices, then make sure that for the answer to be correct, it should have relevant basis in the passage to support the conclusion. Second, extreme answers. Extreme words like always, any, on, never, none should alert you. The passages contain qualifying statements and thus rarely support extreme, broad generalizations. Third, distortions. The information in a passage can be distorted to make an answer wrong. Such choices twist the connection of ideas or misattribute an idea. 4. Unrelated answers. Look out for ideas not addressed by the passage as they make the answer wrong. Let's discuss some more questions to understand the concept better. The next type of question I'll be talking about is pronoun reference. Pronoun is a word that is used instead of a noun or a noun phrase. An antecedent is a noun or a noun phrase that you mention at the beginning of a sentence and later replaced with a pronoun. For example, the sign was too far away for Henry to read it. Sign here is an antecedent and it is a pronoun. Pronoun reference questions ask test takers to identify the antecedent of the target pronoun in the reading passage. The correct answer can be obtained by identifying the antecedent of the target pronoun. Here is the strategy to successfully correct the pronoun reference question. Identify that the highlighted word is a pronoun. If it is not, then it is a vocabulary question. Read the full sentence that the pronoun is in. Oftentimes, the noun that that it is referring to is in the same sentence, and in most cases, the noun that is referring to is before the pronoun. If the noun it refers to is not in the same sentence as the pronoun, read the sentence before. If it is not in the same sentence, it will almost always be in the sentence before it. If the noun is not in the sentence before, read the sentence after. It is not often in the sentence after, but if the noun which the pronoun is referring to is not in the same sentence or the sentence before, then it must be in the sentence after. The next type of question is true or false question. Strategy 1. For a statement to be true, each part must be true. One detail can make an entire statement false. For example, Jean Piaget makes some revolutionary discoveries about child behavior during the 19th century. The answer is false. Although Piaget did make discoveries about child behavior, he did so during the 20th century. Strategy 2. Alert with absolutes or qualifiers words. Example: true-false questions. True-false questions may use words called absolutes or qualifiers. Absolute words imply there are no exceptions to the fact stated in a question. Examples of such words are never, none, always, on, every, only. These words tend to make a statement false, but not always. Qualifiers such as some, few, often, many, frequently limit meaning, thus allowing exceptions and possibilities that can make a question true, but not always. For example 1, everyone should exercise daily. The answer is false. Due to the word everyone, there are many people who should not exercise daily and people who may be unable or prohibited from doing any exercise. Example 2, all types of cars have some type of engine. The answer is true, even though the absolute term all could tend to make this question false. The qualifier some makes the question more general and allows for possibilities. Some type of engine doesn't have to be the familiar gasoline driving engine. Example 3. Children sometimes have emotional problems following their parents' divorce. The answer is true, because the qualifier sometimes limits the scope of this statement, allowing for exceptions. Example 4. The word steep is usually a verb. The answer is false, despite the qualifier usually, which indicates something less than always. The word steep is more frequently used as an adjective like steep hill than a verb to steep day. In this case, the best taking strategy was knowing your vocabulary. Strategy 3. Double negatives tend to indicate a positive relationship. Double negatives, two negative words in a sentence, tend to indicate a positive relationship in standard English usage. Just as in algebra, multiplying two negative numbers equals a positive number. For example, Aspirin is not an illegal drug. The hint is cancel on the negatives to turn questions into positive statement. Aspirin is not an illegal drug equals with aspirin is an legal drug. So the answer is true. Strategy 4. Be careful with Be careful with negatives. Adding negatives such as not do not necessarily make a statement false. Rephrase the sentence to help you clarify what is being asked or stated in the negative words confuse you. Example 1. California is not a state in Canada. Rephrase. Canada does not have a state called California, or California is not in Canada. So the answer is true, because California is not in Canada. Example 2. It is not true that Canada is north of the US. When you rephrase it, you have it is incorrect that Canada is north of the US. So the answer is false, because Canada is north of the US. The last type of question I will be talking today is the vocabulary question. As a way to test your knowledge, of academic words and phrases, the vocabulary question typed on the test is fairly straightforward. In the passage, 1 or 2 words will be underlined, and you will be asked to choose an option that is closest in meaning to those underlined. The best way to succeed on this question type is to know as many vocabulary words as possible. If you don't really know the meaning of the word, we have some tips for you. If you do know the definition of the word, locate the answer which is the definition. Just know that the word may have a slightly different meaning in the context, so you should still check. Eliminate obviously wrong answers. Do not spend time pondering this. This should be done quickly. If none of them are obvious, skip to read the sentence to check the definition. Locate the answer which could be the meaning. This should also be done quickly. If none of them were obvious, skip to reading the sentence to check the definition. And finally, confirm your answer. If you do not know the definition of the word, read the sentence which contains the word. Even if you do not know the meaning of the word, there can only be 1 or 2 possibilities of what a word could mean in any situation. Therefore, you should be able to discover the answer intuitively. Eliminate obviously wrong answers. As stated above, this should be done quickly. If none of them are obvious, then just move to the last step. Choose the only or best possible answer. If after all of the steps, you still don't know how to do it, then just guess it and move on. We're moving to the second part as well as the last part of today's video, the multiple choice question strategies. Strategy 1. Look for answers that are grammatically correct. For example, using "un" indicates an answer beginning with a vowel. Delete answers that match the theme for being plural or singular. For example, small salamanders are A. Mon, B. Tarpon, C. Coal, D. News. The correct answers are D. The correct answer is D. Salamanders is plural. So the answer needs to be plural. Strategy 2. Look for the root words in the answers that are similar to words in the stem. For example, if an individual dies without a will, it is called A. The principle of primogeniture, B. Dying intestate, C. Testamentary freedom, D. Illegal. Even if you didn't know any of the terms in Joyce's ABC, this answer is a likely choice because it contains a similar word to that in the stem. Strategy 3. If there is a range of numbers or values, choose a middle value. Example, as late as 1800, as late as 1800. Less than percent of the world's population live in cities of 2,000 or more. Always use your background knowledge or logical thinking to help you choose answers. In these questions, you are looking for the number of people that would likely be living in larger cities in 1800. Since you know most people were still living on farms or in rural areas 200 years ago, it is more likely the lesser value of 3 or answer B would be correct. Strategy 4. Eliminate silly or suspicious choices. Choose options that make sense based on logical reasoning and your background knowledge. In the following example, you must identify Washoe. In this example, assume that you know Washoe's fame is related to research in the field of psychology. For example, Washoe is A. One of the teaching assistants for this course. B. A chimpanzee that was taught American Sign Language. C. A gorilla who became a sexual deviant in captivity. D. The world's only no-talking chimpanzee. It is obvious that B, C, D only refer to animals, while Washoe is a person, so A is the only answer that makes sense. Strategy 5. Be sure the right choice is the best choice. At first glance, example, if you do not understand a question during a test, you should A. Ask a friend to explain it to you. B. Skip that question. C. Look it up in your textbook. And D. Ask your instructor for clarification. At first glance, answer B seems to be the correct answer for the following question. However, your options reveal that D is the better choice. Both B and D are correct, but D is the best answer. When choosing the best answer, you need to consider the context in which you learn the information. Examples or other information emphasized by the professor during lectures and discussions, and information contained in your textbook. If your choice is marked wrong, and you can present an informed and clear explanation to choosing answer, make an appointment to meet with your professor to discuss it. Strategy 6. Responses that look like the word to be defined are usually incorrect. For example, an illusion is A. Something that is not really there. B. An illusion. C. The same as elusive. D. Another word for illustration. Illusion, elusive, illustration all resemble the word illusion and are thus called distractors because they look appealing and divert your attention from the correct response. Distractors tend to be poor choices. Strategy 7. Watch for responses that are essentially the same. For example, the chemically inactive substance used in experiments to determine drug effectiveness are A. Prescription medications, B. Federally controlled pharmaceutical products, C. Similar to physician-prescribed drugs, and D. Placebos. Choices A, B, C are the same thing, stated in different ways. Prescription medications are federally controlled and physician prescribed. Since these responses are the same, they cannot be the correct choice. Assuming you are allowed to choose only one answer, which is typically how most exams are designed. When taking objective exams, your goal is to find the correct choice among the possible answers provided. You want the best choice, the one that answers the most questions most completely and accurately. However, even when you are having adequately prepared for a test, choosing a correct answer is not always easy. Knowing some test-taking strategy like I just told you and introduced to you may help you to have a better chance of choosing the correct answers. However, these guidelines are not a magical formula for success and do not replace thorough studying. The strategies can help you to logically and critically think about objective test questions and make educated guesses when necessary. This is the end of the video. Thank you for listening. Do you have any questions? Please leave your comments below. Have a good day.